We're always looking for hacks to increase our productivity. But it might be that sometimes it's just something right in front of our noses that we're missing that is affecting how productive and our quality of life in general. This can be directly tracked to our diet or even supplements. Have you ever felt constantly tired, sluggish, or just unable to focus, no matter how much sleep you get? What if I told you that a common nutritional deficiency might be secretly sabotaging your productivity? There's a strong link between your iron levels and your productivity, your brain health, and your overall well-being. So let's learn why. So first, let's talk about how widespread is this issue. According to a study, iron deficiency isn't just about feeling a little tired. One of the most prevalent nutritional deficiencies and insufficiencies worldwide, affecting an estimated 4 billion people. That's a lot. With severe iron deficiency leading to anemia impacting about 1.2 billion individuals, according to some studies. Chances are that you or someone that you know either have an iron deficiency or insufficiency. And let me explain what's the difference here. Iron deficiency is probably something you heard before, something mostly clinical term, and usually it could translate in specific symptoms like anemia. So if you go to a doctor and he measures your iron levels, it could tell you, okay, maybe you are deficient or not. And if you're deficient, you most likely have severe symptoms like clinical symptoms like anemia. But what doctors many times don't tell you, or they probably don't know or don't measure, is that you could also be iron insufficient. So iron insufficiency, or in general any mineral or any vitamin or nutrient that you need for your body, and insufficiency could be that it's above the threshold of what could be medically or clinically considered deficient, but it's not enough to give you the best quality of life. So let's say your iron levels are high enough that you don't get any strong clinical symptom like anemia or feeling extremely tired or any other measurement that the doctor will be scared because it could affect your life in general, your health. But you're just not receiving enough to be at your full potential. And this can easily be fixed by supplementing with iron. And luckily, it can be done very safely. Of course, always consulting your doctor by getting supplements and by putting a lot of attention in your diet. So let's see what iron does so it makes more sense. So what exactly does iron do in your body? Iron is an essential mineral primarily known for its role in producing hemoglobin, a protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen from your lungs to every single cell in your body. Without enough iron, your body can't make enough hemoglobin, leading to iron deficiency anemia. This lack of oxygen transport manifests in a multitude of ways. If you have problems with that, as mentioned before, fewer healthy red blood cells means less oxygen delivery, and this can lead to symptoms like extreme fatigue, weakness, shortness of breath, and pale skin. The thing is also that maybe you have enough to, let's say, to be healthy, but if you could produce even more healthy red blood cells, then you could perform at higher potentials. For example, like when you do sports or when you need to do a very strong cognitive work. This is not something, of course, I would recommend anyone to do, but it was known that in some Tour de France, some participants were using drugs like EPO or erythropoietin to increase the amount of red blood cells that they could produce. This was illegal and of course could have severe impacts to their health if done in a irresponsible way. But they did it because the more red blood cells, healthy red blood cells that you had, the better stamina and performance you could have. And I'm not recommending this, but what I'm recommending is that you want to really optimize all your red blood cells that you already have, and simply by giving the correct and the appropriate amount of nutrients, which is good for you. Because let's put this in context, what is considered efficient for many people is just the average threshold which most people will feel severe symptoms. And maybe the levels are good for me and not the best level are good for you to be completely sufficient and at your best capacity. And this of course needs to be done carefully if you want to supplement with iron, because you can also get to an over supplementation with iron, which could also be toxic. So what I would recommend is to really do it with your doctor, or just take very low doses and see how your body reacts. So what is also known that iron deficiencies affect your immune system. So if you're deficient in iron, you have a higher chances of getting sick. But we could think as well that having the correct number of iron will make you even more protected to certain diseases, and also the symptoms and the duration of an infection might be lower because your white blood cells are also working at the best capacity and performance. And one other symptom that many people ignore, and actually I had this for a time when I was iron insufficient, and there's a whole story about that, is that it affects your sleep. Iron deficiency is a known cause of restless leg syndrome, also known as Willis-Ekbom disease. Restless leg syndrome causes an overwhelming, irresistible urge to move your leg, often accompanied by unpleasant crawling or creeping sensations, especially in the evening or at night while you're sleeping. This severely disrupts sleeps, leading to chronic fatigue, anxiety, and even depression, all of which are huge roadblocks to productivity. And this was something that happened to me. I was sleeping, but sometimes I was waking up in the middle of the night, and maybe because I felt like I moved, and for some reason I think I wake up. I was not iron deficient. I had a good diet, but at some point I was iron insufficient. Maybe I was not paying attention so much. It's just affecting my body that way. And I decided, okay, I did a blood test and I found out my iron levels were not optimal. Were not efficient, but were not optimal. And I decided to supplement with iron. And my symptoms just went away in a matter of days. In a matter of days, I was able to sleep again properly, have a full night's sleep, and then wake up completely refreshed. And this, of course, is something I experimented in myself, and it got very good results. If you want to experiment yourself, the disclaimer, of course, is to consult your doctor, because that's what you should do. But you can already start by changing your diet. If you add certain foods that are rich in iron, especially for women and vegetarians with their diet usually doesn't include a lot of iron or need more, it might be very useful for you.